Hello and welcome to Medical Terminology or HLT 101. My name is Dr. Susan Knowles and I'll be your instructor for the course. So let's talk about the course as it's laid out on Moodle just a little bit. So you'll need to read the course procedure sheet for all the specifics as well as for the grading rubric to see how the points are divided for the course. I've created a course assignment sheet for you to try to help you keep track of your homework as well as the quiz due dates. Basically, the bottom line is review the chapters, study the resources, and take the quizzes. You'll have a final exam at the end of the course. I'll talk a little bit about quizzes in one of the next slides to give you more information about how the quizzes are set up for you. I will have a few forums for you to participate in. They'll be brief. This is pretty standard for online courses to have forums. But the first forum, I'd really like to hear from you about who you are. Introduce yourself so the rest of the class knows who you are as well as I do. And I'd also like to know what time zone you're in. So please, when you sign your post, go ahead and put your time zone. That way, if I'm trying to set up a Zoom class for us, then I'll know how to create the time. Let me know a little bit about as far as your work schedule, your school schedule, so that we can try to create something that will work for the entire group or for the majority of us. The second post is a mandatory post. You must post there. Of course, I want the first one to be mandatory too, but the second one is absolutely mandatory. It's a census reporting post. And if you don't report, I won't know you're still in the class and I'll be forced to drop you from the class. So please make sure you report. All you have to do is say, yeah, I'm here, I'm in the class, here, whatever you'd like to say. I will be asking you to send a recording of medical terms as you say them, so be listening to how they're supposed to be pronounced and working on that as you work on some of the other skills, not just memorizing what the terms mean, the prefixes, suffixes, and root words, but also be practicing with your CD or your online skills so that you can learn how to spell the words. None of the questions that you'll have on the quizzes will be asking you to fill in the blanks. So the course is not very strong in that section. So it will be up to you to make sure that you do practice that, because if you're planning to go into one of the health professions, you're going to have to know how to spell the words. So occasionally I'll be asking you to send a recording of yourself stating the terms. So let's talk about the textbook. Your textbook is Medical Terminology, an Illustrated Guide. It is the 7th edition. It's written by Barbara Cohen, and it's a 2014 copyright. The ISBN number is here on the screen if you don't already have the textbook. You can get it from the bookstore at the college or Amazon, depending on where you're taking this course from. Where do you live? The textbook is imperative that you have it, because if you don't have it, you really won't be very successful in this course. So please get the textbook. The textbook is divided into 3 sections. Pretty standard. You have the introduction, the second part is diagnosing and treatment, and then it's divided up into body systems. Each chapter will have key terms as well as supplementary terms. There'll be some abbreviations for you to learn. You'll have exercises to practice with the terms in the textbook. Of course, there's a chapter review. There's also case studies. I really advise you to read those case studies so that you can get more and more practice with saying the terms and reading the terms and interpreting the terms as they are in context with written material. Make flashcards. In the back of your textbook, you have some pre-made flashcards that are already made for you. Take advantage of those. Also, you can find apps that you can put on your phone or your computer that you can it'll help you to practice. And then we're going to talk about what's available to you from the textbook company. So in the back of your textbook, you'll find these flashcards, and here's a picture of them and what they look like. Go ahead and take advantage of those, and I highly suggest that you make more for your own self. You know, there's something when you have the ability to find out how you learn best, whether it be auditory, visual, or actually touching things. But some things that we know about learning theory is that if you write it, you read it, and you say it, and you hear it, you are engaging so many of your senses that you're more likely to learn the material. So I highly suggest that you make flashcards and use the tools that are available to you. So speaking about the tools that are available to you, it's called Passport to Success. And you have a scratch off code that's in the inside of your textbook, and you'll notice that you'll see this that's on the screen. It says Passport to Success, and you can look at how you learn, so you can take a test to find out your learning style. And then if you click on where it says Chapter Menu, you'll be able to go to all the sources that the textbook company has created for you, those student resources. You know, they're really kind of fun in some ways because you can drag and drop the terms, you can interact with the terms, you can hear the terms, you can spell the terms, you can take a quiz to practice before you take the official quiz. So whatever works for you, or whatever you enjoy doing, or whatever you have time to do, I highly recommend that you use as many of those resources that are available to you. So let's talk a little bit about the course materials that I have set up for you that are on Moodle. I've given you the PowerPoint slides, and in those PowerPoint slides you'll find pre- and post-test questions, very similar to your textbook. Also, there's a PowerPoint slide that's put together in a lesson format that mirrors your textbook. I've also added a worksheet that's just like that's in your textbook, but it's missing some terms, so you can use it as a study guide. And then from time to time, as I find resources that I think you might find interesting, I'll post those in the supporting materials. Now let's talk a little bit about quizzes. Each quiz will contain somewhere between 20 and 30 questions. And I've set the timing up so that you'll have approximately 1 minute per slide. So that means that the quizzes will last anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. You may take a quiz twice, and I highly suggest that you take it twice and get the highest grade. But let me caution you a little, because the questions are randomized. You may have some, but you will not necessarily always have all of the same questions that you had on the previous quiz. The way that I have it set up is that you will be able to know what the correct answer is. So if you should choose the wrong choice, you will have the opportunity to learn from the quiz and find out what the correct answer is. And I highly suggest you use this as a learning tool. But because I've set it so that you can get the highest grade, if you don't do so well on the first quiz, make sure you go back and study your materials so that you can get the highest grade on your second quiz. You won't get the average, you'll get whichever quiz you got the highest grade. So since you have 2 chances, take 2 chances. That way you'll have the opportunity to actually be tested over more of the possible terms. Because when you get to the final exam, you'll only be able to take that test 1 time. And I would like you to have had the opportunity to interact with more of the terms. The references for this material all come from our textbook company, Lippincott, Williams & Wilkins. So I hope you'll take advantage of all the materials that are available to you throughout this course. Thank you for joining me on this podcast. I really hope you enjoy the course. As with anything, you will get as much out of this course as you put into it. If you have any questions, concerns, or problems, you can email me through the college or through the podcast. Thank you very much. This is Susan Knowles from Cochise College.